A&B Properties is Quincy's largest apartment rental company with hundreds of units available. They offer short-term and long-term rentals with 1 up to 4 bedroom apartments. A&B Properties meets the needs of its tenants with care, compassion, and a quality of service that exceeds expectations. A&B Properties also has a convenient tenant app for you to do your payments or make repair requests. Give them a call today. A&B Properties, 217-919-8080, Quincy.
The Quincy Park District has 32 parks. Rome Frericks, Executive Director of Quincy Park District. You guys have over 1,000 acres.
1,032.
1,032. Those 32 acres, that makes, an acre is a lot of land. So you have 1,032. Can I say we? Because it's Quincy.
You're a taxpayer, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So Rome Frericks, I told you I was going to start the pod off like this. You and I played soccer together in the 90s.
95.
Yeah, so pretty much 91 to 95, right? Mm-hmm. Our senior year, I was the wing midfielder, and you were the all-star sweeper.
I wouldn't go that far. I was a sweeper.
You completely controlled the backfield. Who do we have in wing back? We had Jake Grieving,
Dave Vogel.
Mm-hmm. We had really good players on our team. We had Jamie Blazing, Kevin Pro, Matt Rakers. Who was in goal? Chris Costigan?
Chris Costigan, our senior year.
And Mike Carpenter sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the head coach of QU? Our last year was Greg Reese and Mark Longo. We both had them as coaches at the same time. Mm-hmm. Kind of blessed. Kind of neat thing to have.
And Greg was our traveling coach as well.
Yeah, in 76 Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me to Hearts. Quincy Soccer, there was only one club team back when you and I played. We had Hearts.
Now Jack McKenzie started that program.
Did Jack McKenzie start that program and Quincy Soccer League?
I don't know about Quincy who started that back in the day.
Well, Beth McKenzie Hilbing had said something like, my dad helped start Quincy. So back when Quincy College was NAIA champions and they had, the Camachos. Mm-hmm. I think Frank Longo was in the mix somewhere. Frank Longo was a huge soccer guy. Mm-hmm. They had just an amazing team, and Quincy went on the map for soccer, in the 70s, right? Mm-hmm. And then Quincy Soccer started, and that acted as a feeder team towards Q&D's state championship in the 80s, 85. So when, I think John Pro and Mike True, I think Greg
and all them, yes.
Played on those teams. And then, so the Quincy Hearts traveling soccer team turned into Quincy United, or it was just a separate. I don't know all the history on that.
I don't either. It was a long time in between Hearts and whenever Quincy United established back in the day.
The reason why we're talking about this is because the Quincy Park District has received an incredible gift.
We're in the process. We have a signed donation agreement from the Quincy Soccer League and the Park District. Our attorneys are working with Klinger and Associates right now on the title work survey. And there's 2 different easements, one from the 1920s that actually mentions horses and carriages, and one from the 40s. And, we budgeted about $400,000 once we receive this property to make some necessary improvements. The culverts failed at the entrance, and the parking lot needs a total remill and resurface. So when staff and I met with Ameren, they couldn't find an easement for the entrance. So luckily we met with them late last fall to where once we get the title work and survey, we're going to send that down to St. Louis to their headquarters down there and try to do some digging so we can get all these projects rocking and rolling and completed before. So we can't even go in there and make any improvements until we find out all these easements from the 20s and 40s yet. So,
wow.
but we did budget, the park district did budget, $100,000 for the culvert repair and $300,000 for the parking lot improvements.
Wow, that's incredible. So correct me if I'm wrong. If I say something that's incorrect, I did a lot of work to get ready to talk to you. I've known for about a week that I was going to come talk to you, and you're going to come in here, and I'm really excited to talk to you as a friend, and the fact that you have so much going on with the park district. You gave me this sheet here, and there's so many amazing statistics on here. One of them is because we'll talk about soccer first, and later on we'll get into other stuff too if you want to talk about baseball, softball. But this is amazing. The youth soccer league that the park district runs, you guys have a lot of participants.
Yeah, we market it and we sold it to parents as Monday through Thursday, 5:30 and 6:25. Your weekends are free. It was $25 and $35. We raised it to $28 for early registration. Late registrations, $38. But parents want their weekends free. Rather than having to wait around Saturday or Sunday at 1:00, you really can't make any family plans with that. That way we can still get the kiddos home for a dinner and get their homework done before they go to bed. And we started at 500 about 5 years ago, and we're darn near up to 1,700 kids playing in our rec league.
So you've got, so 1,700 kids. Are some of those, are any of those the same players from spring to fall?
There are some, but a lot of them also play, baseball in the fall to where, they can do one or the other. They can do both. It all determines on what's going on with the family and what activities they got going on.
What's your opinion on how important it is to play soccer as a kid? Did you play Quincy when you were a kid?
Yeah, Brad Burkhart and Bob were my coach from Quincy Appliance Center. So
they were your coaches?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh!
When we played down there, Bob Bangert there, where our nature preserves are right now.
So did we play you? I played on Coach House.
Oh, I'm sure we did. But hell, I don't know what I did yesterday, let alone 15, 20 years ago.
No, I need to know all the teams you played on Quincy, the old Quincy League back in the day, and was kind of a glorious situation. So I was this Chicago transplant, like suburbs of Chicago, to be honest. And when I came to Quincy kind of blew my mind because there was this club team that I was trying out for. Maybe I was good enough to make it, maybe I wasn't. But at least Quincy had this massive public rec league. Mm-hmm. And I know that there were all of the corporate sponsors. And I think would that be more difficult to do today? So let's just hit this really slowly. It would be difficult, right?
For that price, we get volunteer coaches, and then we have the shirts ready to go based on colors, and I bet you we have over 70 teams. So you're not making the parent go out and knock on doors and trying to get that sponsor to where we're handling it. We're setting all the teams up, based on what kids go to certain schools. That way you're keeping your friends together. And remember, it's a rec league, so it's just we try to keep everybody on the same playing field.
Yeah, and the amount that the park district charges per kid, it pays for the shirt, it pays for the ink on the paper, it pays for a little bit. But no one's trying to turn this huge profit to have kids play soccer. It's not this thing.
No.
It's
another program. We have 4 or 5 different levels of classification for our programs, from Any Mounds Pool that we know we're going to lose $70,000 a year, to where soccer will make some money. Our special populations will lose $30,000, but we're giving them a dance and food and stuff like that. So the board knows on these classifications on what we charge, where we're going to try to be at the end of the year on these programs.
So I'm in a unique place because I played soccer with you. Mm-hmm. We played on the same team. We both played Quincy soccer back in the day. We know a lot of the same people. And I've got kids right now that play park district soccer. They love it. Mm-hmm. I've got a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And this past summer, I think they all played. Two of them played in the same day, and then the next day or two, another one played. It's fantastic. You guys do an amazing job. It's really good. I cannot find a weed in Boots Bush. I don't know what you're doing over there with the grass.
We have a program, Rick Miles and his staff out there at Westview, they help us out. They have all the certification for all the chemicals when it comes to turf. And, our guys have, the Parks Department has their own different pesticide tests and stuff like that. So, we help the golf course out, and the Parks Department and Westview helps us out. So Rick has us on a program, and that's the program that we want to get started over there. We budgeted about $15,000 for the Paul Dennis complex.
Those fields look good too.
So, get them some fertilizer, aerate them, overseed, and get them on a 3-step program this year. Then that way, hopefully when we open the gates first of next year or late this fall, with potentially maybe a 7th and 8th grade, division to play there at the Paul Dennis, just to break that open, and then next year have take all the pressure off the Boots. That way, if there's some tournaments, that those fields are a lot more pristine than what they are right now.
So those Paul Dennis fields. So good job on the grass, on the pitch. Soccer players call it pitch, right? The Paul Dennis fields, they look really good, really good. I'm surprised at how good they look. I heard a rumor that the Quincy Soccer League was doing some work. I know they had some issues, some administration issues with just kind of like getting kids registered. And quite honestly, I think the Park District is such a well-oiled machine that anybody who tries to kind of compete, the Park District, and this is a huge compliment, you're just going to kind of steamroll them, take them over. It's been awesome. I mean, I've been out there for 5 years, spring and fall, for 5 years straight, in your program, in our program, the Quincy Park District. It's amazing. It's really hard to find a parking space. Mm-hmm. But, there's some rollover into Flynn Stadium. You've done a really good job. Good job. And a lot of people think that. What do you think is going to happen? Did you say something about Paul Dennis? It won't be ready this year? Not
this year. I mean, based on, again, we don't even own it yet, the Quincy Park District. So hopefully by, I'm saying March, that we have all the title work, surveys, the environmental, all that stuff in our hands. Then we have to go out and work with Ameren on the easements to replace the culvert that's failed. Okay. What it takes to get supplies now. So that's a 2-month process probably. And then by the time we get that fixed, then we'll put on the streets here next month for a bid opening in February, and then take it to the board in March on the milling and resurfacing of the parking lot, which is 325 stalls. So that's a summer project. So by the time we're working with Ameren now to remove a lot of the trees and the washouts and stuff like that. So it just takes time. When we turn the water on April 1st, hopefully there's no leaks or damage to the restroom to where our staff can attack that at that time. But the public just needs to be patient. We do not have ownership yet, and it takes time, and that way it gives us a year to get those fields underneath the same program that Boots is on, minus the irrigation, and that way we have a good product to turn out in 2025.
What is your opinion on this? So whenever Quincy people are talking about the Quincy Park District public golf course, they all refer to it as Westview. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I suspect that if you try to change the name from Westview back to Quincy Park District Golf Course, I think most people in Quincy would call it Westview. Just like, the Sears Tower, they changed it to the Willis Tower. I call it the Sears Tower. And I don't know if I'm dead naming somebody. I sure hope I don't get canceled for that. But what do you think? Would you consider, or do you think anybody at the Park District would consider, maybe you know where I'm going with this, is there any advantage for the Park District to keep doing what they're doing, same thing, but just call it Quinsippy? Do you think there's an advantage to that? And have you thought about it? Or am I coming out of left field with this?
I think that's going to confuse people. I think we could just run it as the park district, as the program, and just have it at the Paul Dennis complex. The family wants to keep that name. They've asked Brad, and Brad has passed that on to staff and the board. So, right now, I think my gut shooting off the hip is it's still a Quincy Park District program.
Okay. Oh no, I know it's a Quincy Park District program.
And with that same name as well.
Okay. I would just, if your board was listening, I would say consider maybe, and this is not coming from me. I was doing all of this digging with all of these big names that we both know, like soccer gods in Quincy, and a lot of people, and you can pull it and do your own research on it, but man, just the idea of calling it Quincipi. So Muddy River could do a really good job with the viral campaign of saying the Quincy Park District Soccer League is now renamed the Quincipi in honor of, our all the people who came before us. And just what I think would happen is, do you think Quincy people are nostalgic and some Quincy people like to live in the past and some are progressive.
Absolutely they do.
But it's just food for thought.
Yeah,
I think it would be amazing.
I haven't bounced anything off of staff like that, so it's not a me decision. It's what's best for the Quincy Park District and the taxpayers of Quincy.
That makes sense. What are the chances the Park District could at some point in time either light a soccer field out there, either at Paul Dennis or Boots, or now this is so I'm not trying to spend all the government's money here. I'm just saying, I'm spitballing. I'm just having fun talking about things because I think it would be amazing to have a field that's lit or a turf field someday. Did you know where kids have to go to play on turf? They have to go to Flynn or QND. So I know Quincy Rush, I think Quincy Rush plays at Flynn. And I think Monarchy, the club team Monarchy, I think they play at QND a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
So let's talk about this. You want to know what I heard? I heard that the two club teams, Monarchy and Rush, I heard that when they found out that the Park District is getting these fields, I heard they threw a party. I heard they couldn't believe it. There are people who are so excited about this. They can't even see straight. They are just seeing they're in heaven thinking about what you're going to do with this. And the fact that you want to refurbish the parking lot, you want to overseed, you want to fix the culvert, you're turning this into a mecca for soccer.
I would foresee us doing some type of a master site plan for it and putting a shelter and some walking trails around it. But but again, it's just, you got to learn to crawl before you walk and walk before you run. And it's, as you see on that paper, we got a lot of irons in the fire right now, and we just can't just focus on one thing at a time to where, we got a $2 million irrigation project going on. I got a $1.6 million grant out there that we haven't heard back from. So
you do have a turf field lighting of $200,000.
That's for the new T-ball fields that we're putting up at Wavering Complex. That's a tourism grant that I went after with the help of Holly Kane, its staff. So we're trying to leverage the $566,000 that we're spending on the turf fields, leveraging that for some tourism dollars to light the baseball fields.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Up where Wavering Pool used to be?
Yes.
Yeah, so my kids also are in that program too. They play T-ball out there. Mm-hmm. Both fields, all three kids love it. It's amazing. It's so weird. The very first time I walked out there or drove over there, did you go to Wavering as a kid to the pool?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a interesting feeling driving up there and pulling the kids, and then they're playing T-ball. Mm-hmm. It's cool. You guys filled all that in. They're beautiful fields. Mm-hmm. You guys do really good work. So this is so the Paul Dennis Soccer Complex upgrades $400,000. You're really taking this.
That's day one.
Pretty seriously.
That's year one. So it just takes time.
What do you think about an adult league? And so I played in the Park District Adult League a couple times. And since I got you in front of me, the man, I'm going to offer some playful upgrades to like how that could work. So did you notice how difficult it is to get adults playing in the rec league?
Our rec league has declined over the last 5 years, but the Knights of Columbus, that's their niche.
Oh, the softball?
With the bar and everything real close to it, and that's they do really well with the adult softball.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I love the Knights of Columbus. Obviously, my dad is a member. You're talking about drunk softball, right? Like, that's what I call it. I'm
whatever you want to call it.
I'm making jokes. So you can't really play drunk soccer. What you got to do is the 11v11 thing, okay? I've played in that league. There's only one person
who going back to soccer now?
I'm sorry, we're going back to soccer.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, drunk soccer. We shouldn't do drunk soccer. We should take away 11v11 for the adults and poll and ask all the adults, say, if you were to play soccer, would you prefer 6v6, 7v6, mini goals, or not mini goals, but not the big, huge goals, and don't force the adults to run up and down. So you know how I always get trapped playing wing midfielder? Do you know how much running that is? It's terrible. Remember Dave Vogel? We just talked about him. He's the only guy that can run up. He can still run up and down the field. He's an animal. But I am this close to ripping out an ACL every time I go out there and play. So anytime that it's 11v11, I see that, I'm like, I'm out. But on the Quincy Community Soccer Facebook page that I look at a lot, because there's guys like Johnny Hanchett, who's the owner of the Fuzzy Bubbler. There's all of these guys in Quincy that are getting adults to play. They get 6v6, 7v7, 8v8. If they get too many players, they've got 2 side games going on. Okay. And they play at Boots. And you've got some really good people that work with you that are super nice to the adult soccer community. They don't join the Park District League because they want to play small fields. And so I think what the Park District could do, this is my own opinion, granted I don't need to kiss any more butt because I already told you how great it is. But if you turn the field sideways and do something small, just smaller, so they can get more touches on the ball, so we're not running all over the place. Because I don't know if I can do it anymore. I mean, you and I are the same age. Mm-hmm. I think you're 40 days older than me, but I'm not going to say what that date is. But I'm pretty sure you got your license before I did. I'm pretty sure. Sure. I think you and Mike Betts got your license first. I'm January 19th.
December 15th.
Okay, so yeah, you're 30. I can't do math in my head. 34 days older than me. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Man, you're 47.
Absolutely.
I'll be 47 in a few days. Man, we're
getting old.
Dude, we look good, though. We look good. All right, so what else can we talk about? Have I beaten the youth soccer and the soccer thing to death yet in this pod?
Sure.
I have, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of other things going on.
The last thing I want to talk about is the commitment so I can't speak for all of the club teams. And I can't speak for all of the coaches in town. But, Ronnie Bridle, so he was my keeper on Heart 77. I mean, the head soccer coach for senior high was my keeper, and we had Everett Abbey at the top. Remember Everett? Mm-hmm. Remember playing Everett at Abbey? He was an assassin.
Quick.
Unbelievable. So that's kind of how I grew up with my coach for 77, Porter Gibson. The great Porter Gibson. And if he's listening, shout out to Porter Gibson, who's one of the greatest men that's ever lived. But I think that the 2 club teams, if you wanted to, and the Park District would let this happen, you can talk to the club guys, like the Travis Browns.
We're planning on having a meeting this fall.
Oh, really?
With everybody, with the coaches, and try to brainstorm and see, and for renting the fields out and trying to do some tournaments and stuff like that. So that's on our plan. But again, we got to get the property safe to where people can go and get on it, get in it and having an easement and all that. So we got to take our time to get where we need to go.
You're being really humble about it. You're saying first things first. Let's take care of business first before we start inviting everybody, celebrating and getting to the end when you're trying to take care. You're being responsible, and I'm being the flighty, look forward too fast. But I'm just saying, I think the club teams would help you do a fall tournament and a spring tournament. Did you know there are 350 to 400 kids or more that play club soccer. I believe the club soccer coaches, when you talk to them, and I don't want to overpromise them, and they may like talk to you at this soccer meeting and say, yeah, don't listen to Murphy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I think they would tell their kids and encourage their kids, the club soccer people, to play rec soccer. And I think that you could get a roster of all the club kids and evenly distribute them, because that could be a problem. Remember when we played Quinsippee?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. So, but yeah, I mean, it's doable.
Yeah, and so what I'm doing right now is I'm being this guy that's saying, oh, the park district should do all this extra work and all of this extra admin and management of this big thing. And easy for me to say because I'm not the one doing the work, right? But I'm just saying, I heard lots of rumors that the club
and that's why
coaches,
we're looking into the 7th and 8th grade league in the fall, because we don't have the time now, because we don't have the space over at Boots. So hopefully we can get the fields rocking and rolling and get the easements and the necessary improvements just to open the gate to have a soft opening for the older kids.
Well, the Great Brittany Bowl sent me a text that said if the Quincy Park District could get 7th and 8th grade to play at the fall, she would just cry because she's got her daughter who is probably going to be a star if she isn't already one. That's amazing that you guys would do that. But I'm just telling you, you've got, when you have your soccer meeting, you have everybody from Mackenzie, the QU women's soccer coach, Mike Carpenter, you've got Tyler Tomlinson, you've got the John Wood coach, you've got Bridle and Greg Reese and Mark Thomas. Holy crap, Mark Thomas is the new head coach for Q&D girls. You've got a massive groundswell of people all around that will support you and do your bidding, whatever you need to get done. And they're going to have all different kinds of things to tell you about. So there's that. Baseball, softball. So what's with all of the awesome baseball fields at Upper Mormon? How many do you guys? I see lots of baseball.
Our
softball.
first one was Pepsi Field. That was a 10-year naming rights. That was in 2015. Then when the Avenue of Lights disbanded, Bob Scott and John Groves and their group wrote a check for $250,000, $150,000 for that field off of 36th Street, and $100,000 for the Bill Klinger Trail. And then our latest field was 19 with Blessing Hospital. That was a 10-year naming right as well. And then we just kind of working with Q-Town tournaments, and then the city of Quincy gave $300,000 from food and beverage money to develop those into 2 turf fields as well, up there where the old pool is.
Okay, so when we were kids, we had baseball. Did we have club baseball?
I didn't play baseball.
You didn't?
Mm-mm.
You played. So what did you play? You
Basketball and soccer.
Okay. I remember I played on Sports Locker. That team was stacked. Travis Maynard, Jamie Blazing. Jamie Blazing would throw a pitch like. Did you ever watch Jamie Blazing pitch?
Yeah, in high school.
Yeah. This guy, stud. You should see him play golf now. He beats everybody. It's quite embarrassing to play Jamie Blazing in anything, just so you know. You know that. Would it be bad if I asked you how difficult it would be to form? So you got all the baseball tournaments. The baseball people are allowed. I say that respectfully. I'm a baseball guy. All my kids play baseball and softball. Baseball club teams, soccer club teams. I'm hearing that there's a flag football.
Taylor Rakers runs that program.
Yeah. So club sports is a big, big thing. And sometimes it kind of eclipses some of the rec leagues. Like CYO has volleyball, and there's volleyball clubs. Mm-hmm. There's CYO has basketball, and like the public schools too. Everybody's got their rec leagues or their school leagues, and then there's club. Mm-hmm. What is it about baseball? Because I personally love baseball, but since I'm a soccer guy.
Well, we have rec and competitive leagues.
Yeah.
So our rec, we it's similar to soccer, where we form the teams based on where they go to school, and there's A players, B players, C players. But then on the competitive, the coach actually brings his roster in with the check, and he forms the team. We provide the shirts.
It just seems to me, I hear about Like, Tanner Freiberg one day woke up and said, we don't have a basketball tournament in Quincy. I want to have a basketball tournament. And Tanner Freiberg is the kind of guy that when he wakes up and when he's having his morning coffee, he wants to do something, he's going to do it. Like, who's going to stop him? Like guys like Tanner and Adam Booth and Trevor Beck and Rome Frericks. These are guys that when they wake up in the morning, they just make stuff happen. What do you think about a soccer tournament? I'm talking about soccer again. What does Quincy have to do to bring in a soccer tournament? Do you know where we are?
Get the fields ready first.
Okay.
And have ownership
title them
of the complex. You got to slow down. We don't, again, it's just, we can't talk until we have everything to make sure the environmental survey goes through, the title work comes back, the easements come back. It's just, people want everything now.
They do.
Quincy Park District doesn't own it.
Yeah. When they own it, someday, you're going to punch me after this podcast, after the lights go out. You're going to kick me under the table. Do you think it's possible to, right now, the baseball teams come over?
There could be a Darren Dodd of soccer, absolutely.
Okay, do I need to talk to Eric Stratman? Who do I need to talk to? Like, who is the smartest people in Quincy?
When we had that meeting to see if someone wants to step up and take the reins.
God, dang it. Okay, so after you have that meeting, call me so I can start crying.
You can be invited to it as well.
You'll invite me to that meeting?
Sure.
You're going to put me in the back? I won't say anything.
With duct tape, absolutely.
You don't want me talking. It's going to be terrible.
That's why it's duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape. You're also going to have to tie my hands behind my back so I can't make
I'll bring extra rolls.
Yeah, you're going to have to do that. This is amazing. So what else you got here? So wait a minute. You had 39,000 rounds of golf in 2023, and that's the most in 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Do you COVID really catapulted golf in 20 and 21? But, our numbers are better than what they've been since 2013. And it just, and Mother Nature was really kind to us this year. We had one of the fewest amount of rain days, do that. So when it's sunny and nice, people are having cocktails and renting carts. And we did $435,000 in cart rentals this year.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Am I reading this right? Did you already say this about the 27 holes? Is that what you're spending on irrigation?
$1.98 million on the replacement. Irrigation is like a pool. They last 25 years. Our system is 28 years old and counting. So we already have a contract signed. We should be seeing boots on the ground in March, and the whole course will remain open except one hole at a time, and they're not going to leave until they're done. So that's a $1.9 million, $2 million project.
I mean, is the Quincy Park District, I'm serious, is it the greatest organization in Quincy? Is this why Jared Jones wanted to be president? Because everything kicks ass all the time?
Previous executive directors, previous board members, current board members, past staff, current staff. It's buy-in from everybody.
You guys have really good people. You've got you've got Marcelo, you've got John Frankenhoff. You've got a really good, smart, intelligent staff.
You got David Morgan. You got Bruns that runs the programming. And
Bruns is good.
We just had Don Hilsbrink retire after 20 years, and he was the money guy. And me being fifth generation of a family business back in the day, it's just, again, we don't spend the money unless we have it.
Who's the guy at the Park District that has to field all of the dumb parents' phone calls that they call over and over and over? Say
rock, paper, scissors.
What do you mean?
We just
whoever gets the phone call.
Yeah, it basically kind of goes to whatever department head it goes to, and then if someone gets kind of out of line, then that's when I kind of got to take the brunt of it.
Yeah. If this is a more professional podcast, I wouldn't have called them dumb parents. I would have used certain, but I can say, because it's Frankie say, I could do whatever I want. It's crazy. Not really. Bob has beaten me not more than 3 times after a pod for saying something dumb. Listen, I got to tell you, if there's anything else you want to talk about the Park District, I mean, you answered all my questions. I know.
Bill Klinger Trail.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
That's a hidden gem that people don't realize that. We had almost 144,000 people visit that trail last year. And that's phenomenal. That's the quality of life. You wouldn't believe the amount of doctors and nurses that come down to the office looking for outdoor recreation, and once they visit that, they sign papers at the hospitals and stay here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They walk that trail, they're like, oh, this is the kind of place I'm moving to, that they care about building this. You said 144,000 patrons walk the trail. Mm-hmm. That's 20,000 more from the previous year. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. So I live pretty close to St. Peter, and we have to get my dad's pickup truck to load up all the bikes because I don't want my kids crossing Broadway to get to the trail. Mm-hmm. And we throw the bikes in the back of the pickup truck and go to the trail, and my kids and I, and my wife, of course, we just go up and down until they get tired, and then we put the bikes back in there. Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous.
And it's all ages, all abilities, everything. So
every time I go to the trail, there's a new park bench. There's some little offshoot. You guys planted a bunch of saplings, a bunch of trees on the side. I mean, it's a picture perfect.
We have a memorial bench in a heritage tree form. So for $2,500 for a loved one, you can get a plaque and put a bench. We'll pour the concrete, we'll install it, and then for $200, we have a heritage tree program to where you can pick out a tree and you can put it whatever park and location. Then we'll put a plaque on the wall and send you the coordinates with the picture and memory of whoever. So those two programs have really gotten popular. I think we've probably in the last 3 years probably put about 15 or 18 benches just along the Bill Klinger Trail.
Oh, I've seen them, and my kids like pointing out new stuff. It goes all the way down. It kind of goes all the way down to Front Street, doesn't it? It goes down almost to Bob Bangert, essentially.
You can loop around Bob Bangert, then you pick it up in Parker Heights right there off of Bonacina Drive, and then you can go all the way through the vet's home, through Bob Mays, and then end up at 24th Street. But then the Friends of the Trail and the city poured the sidewalk that goes up to the Casey's, and then that gets you into Drakewood there.
Oh, I don't know about this.
On Southbrook. Then we have our nature trails that start in Drakewood. They go all the way to 36th Street that we mow and maintain and have all kinds of nature trails through there as well.
Is there ever – so I did not know that. I'm going to have to explore that as soon as the weather's nice. Is there ever a time in spring, summer where your lawnmowers aren't going nuts? Do you guys ever take breaks?
No, I mean, as soon as we're done, we're starting over, and hopefully if there's a dry spell in August or whatever, then that's when we try to do some painting and maintenance. It's just once we mow for the first time, we're reactive, we're not proactive, because all of our manpower is mowing and doing trash and cleaning restrooms and shelters every day.
Yet you have a fully funded retirement pension, and
we're overfunded.
And you went debt-free at the end of last year, as in 10 days ago. You went debt-free. Mm-hmm. That is amazing. Jeez.
We have a great team.
I don't know if the average Quincean understands. I mean, some Quinceans he may not have the opportunity to have lived other places in the world. I mean, Chicago has a lot of parks, but Chicago, you got to go fend for yourself. It's like, living with a bunch of wolves over there in Chicago. Quincy is so much nicer for a family. But I got to ask you about the country and the world's obsession with pickleball. According to your stat sheet, you guys have 18 pickleball courts. Okay, I thought you were going to say you had 6. What's with pickleball? When did this start?
It's the number one growing sport, 55 and older. Okay,
I'm too young. Okay.
So, but I mean, there's a lot of young kids and young parents playing it as well with their kids. But, we have the 6 up at Mormon. Then we have the 6 at Berrien on 13th and Chestnut. Then we have 2 at Johnson Park that we put in. And then we have a bunch of temporary ones at Reservoir Park on 24th and Chestnut. But then, we have a really good group of volunteers like Mark Shearing and Diane Glubb and Dr. DeGrief, when he's back from Florida. We do pickleball. They do pickleball lessons for free. And it fills up, 24 spots fill up like that. So they'll do another one and do another one. And just to get people to see if they like it, to where they don't have, we'll provide all the paddles and the balls to where they don't have to buy that out of pocket, and see if they like the sport. And it's a slow man's game of tennis. Half the running, and it's very popular right now.
It's beautiful. Well, you're doing amazing things. Anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming and talking and coming to the studio and hanging out. And thanks for fielding all my soccer questions. And thanks for not kicking me too much under the table. But I really appreciate it. Roman Frericks, you're a gem. Love you, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks Frank.
See ya.
A&B Properties is Quincy's largest apartment rental company with hundreds of units available. They offer short-term and long-term rentals with 1 up to 4 bedroom apartments. A&B Properties meets the needs of its tenants with care, compassion, and a quality of service that exceeds expectations. A&B Properties also has a convenient tenant app for you to do your payments or make repair requests. Give them a call today. A&B Properties, 217-919-8080, Quincy.